Today I'm going to show you how you can start a garden for $5 and grow all the foods you want, and that's all you'll need, and it will cost you nothing to fill if you want to do it the way I do it, to grow vegetables for you and your family. Hi, it's Robbie from Southern California, and I'm going to set these two totes up to grow in. Now, these are smaller than what I usually use. These are 10-gallon, and when I set these up, I'm going to get a ton of food. Can you imagine for $5? That's it. And I'll be growing zucchini, cucumbers, watermelon, tomatoes, peppers, anything I want in these. These are fantastic. Now, I bought these two at Dollar Tree. Great price. Love these containers. We won't need the lid, but I'll show you what we're going to do with the lid in case you do need it. There's so many uses. There it is. This is more than enough room to grow a zucchini in, and a few other things as well. It's lightweight, it's easy, you can move it and put it anywhere you want. In a big place, a small place, it doesn't matter. Now, if you wanted something bigger, you've probably seen my other video, the $5 one, you can get larger totes. They're about 18 gallons, and they sell for $7 now. When I did the video a few years ago, they were 5. These are 5, these are 10, the other ones are 18. If you'd rather go bigger, just go to Walmart, check online, or go to Target, look around, but you can find them for $7. And I'll tell you something, if you go into the store and they have the totes there and they don't have lids, a lot of times they cut them in half, but you'd have to ask about that. Now, let me tell you what you can do with this. All you have to do is make drain holes. This is a raised bed. In other words, you will end up with a raised bed vegetable garden. Now, how many years is it going to last? I've got some that are 9 years old already. It will depend on your weather, how you treat it, how you take care of it. As it gets older, don't drag it around. If you need it to move it, take the soil out, move it. It will last a long time. It all depends on how you treat it. Once you put soil in here or whatever you're going to put in, compost, I compost in place. We'll get into that in a minute. And you keep it watered and taken care of as if there's a plant in it. Even in the wintertime, it will last longer. By keeping soil in here and keeping it damp, the plastic will stay flexible, and that's what you want. If you don't do anything and you left it out in the sun, yes, in about a year, it could start to crack. Let me tell you something. For some of you that said they only lasted 2 years, how much do you pay for toilet paper in 1 month? A raised bed, if you went out and bought a regular one, metal, whatever one you want, is going to cost you $200 plus. That's not too bad. I mean, it's going to last you a good 10 years. But what about filling it? When you go to fill a large raised bed, it's going to cost you over $200 to fill it. This can cost you nothing. And if you wanted to actually buy some potting soil, so maybe it will cost you $10. That's a big difference when you want to go and garden right now. Sometimes we don't have the initial funds to set up a big raised bed. And let me tell you something. I've got a big raised bed as well as these totes. And I'm going to tell you that the totes are magnificent. And once they're set up, you can change them up any way you want. You can move them when you need to, going by the weather, the sun, the cold, whatever you're dealing with. Your garden is going to do what you want it to do, not what it wants to do. And I've been doing this for years, and it's the easiest thing. Anybody can set it up, any age. You can have your kids set it up. You can have somebody in their 90s set it up, and they can garden now. Now, I will show you here how I'm going to do it, because what I do is I make holes in it, which we can do now. Now, this is just a power unit I bought, and it's a 200-watt, but I can take this everywhere around the garden with me and plug in my soldering iron to make holes. Of course, you can drill holes if you want, but I have found that it's much easier to make holes with a soldering iron and quicker, and you don't risk breaking anything because it slowly goes through. I would suggest doing it outside. But as you know, I garden by composting in place. What is that? I put leaf matter or sticks or branches or whatever I find around the garden on the bottom. Then I load in all my kitchen scraps. If I'm in a hurry and I want to garden right now, I will find whatever matter I've got that was once alive, put it in there, and then I'll go get a bag of potting mix. What is it going to cost you? It depends on what you want to buy. Get a name brand though, because some of the off brands are not good. So get some sort of name brand. I'm not talking about what's expensive and what's not. I'm talking about just something that has been around a long time that doesn't want to have persistent herbicides in there, where if you put your potting soil in there and then you go to plant in it, it won't grow. That's because they didn't test it. So I personally use Miracle Grow because it's cheaper and I've never had a problem, but you can use anything you want. There's good soil out there. Get a name brand. You can go Kellogg's, Dr. Earth, whatever you want. Then you put that on the top and you plant in it. That's all there is to it. The main thing is drain holes. And you will have to decide how you want to do the drain holes. But like I said, this is the easiest raised bed. And to me, I would rather have multiple mini, as you want to call it, raised beds than one big one. If you've got one big raised bed, I've gone to people's homes and they've showed me they couldn't grow because they planted in a zucchini and peppers and tomatoes and different brassicas and all those plants in one large, very large raised bed, which cost them $200 to fill with potting mix. We're fighting among nutrients and water and everything. When you have them like this, lined up, you're in control of the water and everything. And if you've got one tomato in here and maybe you're going to grow lettuce, cilantro, parsley, or whatever you want along with it, you are now taking care of the one plant along with its friendly neighbors that are in there. Remember, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, watermelons, squash, those are heavy feeders. So whatever nutrients are in there, they're going to suck it up first, and your smaller plants, or if you had multiple plants, they won't get to it. So keep one main plant in there and then layer. And you can go through my videos and see what it is by layering. In other words, once the potting soil is in there, you can add other flower pots in there and grow other things as well in there where they have their own container, but they can set their roots in there. But this would help retain water for you. I have found this to be the easiest garden anybody can set up. The cheapest, easiest, and the most successful. I've seen too many failures. It's not your fault by putting a big raised bed and then you just couldn't afford putting the soil in there. I've watched it drop down. I've gone to somebody's house and I said, why don't you have more soil in there? Because it already cost me, they said, $200, and they didn't want to add more because soil compresses. This, you don't have to worry about that. This has been wonderful. Let's see if this is heated up. Because what you're going to do is decide where you want to put the holes in here, all right? Now, I personally, in Southern California, we get quite hot, like to put my holes higher up. If you get a lot of rain, you want to put the holes on the bottom and put quite a few holes so if it rains a lot, the water comes out. But here, like I said, we don't get a lot of rain in the summer and it gets so hot that I want to make sure my plants can find water if I forget to water them. So I put the holes anywhere from 1 to 2 inches up, just about 1.5 inches, and make the holes quite big. And that's all you've got to do. Now, once you've got your holes there, the water will drain out and you can direct the water as well. And I'm going to catch it in the bucket down below. Now, by keeping the holes above, I will have 1 inch of water in here at all times where the roots of the plant can reach down and get water if needed. This has worked perfect for me, especially here in Southern California. And I know if you're in a hot desert or any place really warm, plants will appreciate this and you'll have much better production and healthier plants by leaving this. You don't need a wicking bed because this will act as a wicking bed because the water can slowly go up and it cannot in any way evaporate like grow bags on the side. The plastic will not allow any water to leave, only on the top, which means your container is much better for areas that are really too warm and dry. This will retain water for your plant. I'm going to put the holes fairly close to each other so I can catch the water. Now, why would I want to catch the water? Well, when I compost in place by putting all my kitchen scraps in there and leaves from other plants around me in there, it is creating a constant food source for my plants. In other words, I don't buy plant food. I don't need to because by having living soil in there, even if I buy a bag of potting mix or potting soil, I have food matter in there. My soil's alive. And if I can go look at a flower pot and lift it up, grab some wet soil, real soil from the ground, throw it in there, the odds are it's going to have earthworm eggs. And the odds are when you lift it, you're going to see earthworms. Once you've got the earthworms in there, Then that's it. They're going to take care of everything. And now I've got big holes, and this will drain into this container that I put here. Let me shut this off. Now I can catch that water, and I can water anything else here on the deck or in my garden. This has been fantastic. I'm telling you, if you haven't gardened because it was too hard or too costly, try this. If you've got a Dollar Tree, go look and see if they've got these totes in, because these are just the perfect size for the plants I mentioned to you. You don't need a giant 18-gallon one, though I like the 18-gallon ones. Check this out. Give it a try. For $5, I bet you I will make a gardener out of you yet if you haven't gardened because you don't want to put the money out or you don't have the money. I have found this much better. I have raised beds. I've got to drag one to another part of my yard, and it's so big that I've got to empty everything. And thank goodness it's a trough so I can tip it. If it was one of those other ones that you had to put together, the metal ones that are really big and there's wires in there holding it together, that would be to me a nightmare to move. But since I can tip my trough, I will move it later on when I'm ready. These, just empty it into a bucket and move it if you wanted to. Or if you can lift it and move it when you're ready anyways. But the point I'm saying is you will have control of your garden. You're going to have complete control of what you're growing in there. And what it is you can fool Mother Nature by growing this way, because you can set up each plant to its own liking. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to go crazy about this, because once I started doing it, I put them on chairs, I put them on tables. This thing came out of the trash that I put it on. You can put it anywhere, and yes, you can put it on the ground. If you put it on the ground and you get a lot of rain, make sure you've got some holes in the front, because if you put it on the ground and your soil is real wet, it won't drain because you're sitting on wet soil. So get the holes towards the bottom, so this way if it rains a lot, it will drain out. It's good to elevate it if you are in a place that gets rain all the time, so this way it drains well. I want to hear what you have to say. Have you been growing in totes since I put the video up years ago? And what do you think? Because I'm telling you, I can grow almost anything I want, even off season, because I am control. I am Mother Nature. I have learned to fool Mother Nature. So with that, have a wonderful day. Garden something, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. Oh, I love these.
And as far as the lid, these are a little bit different than the Sterlite, but they worked out fantastic. And now I can protect my new seedlings covered until I need to uncover it. All for nothing. That's all from the lid. And a little bit of tulle. They're a little bit different than the Sterlite lids, but they were still easy to make. And I've got a video on that too that you can check out. So you can make a lid too. I mean, if you've got the lid, why not use it?